Aslam Khan here today to teach you chapter number 11, which is trial balance. I have taught you chapter 1 to chapter number 10 completely. This channel is focusing on explaining the commerce related subject, accounting, economics, business studies for advanced level, Cambridge, EdExcel, as well as national syllabus. And also, this channel helps to teach the students for grade 11 and 10 for business studies and accounting. You guys are watching business studies and accounting, grade 10 syllabus, chapter number 11, which is going to be the the 11th chapter of grade 10. So moving on to this content, I wanted to teach you one particular thing. What's the trial balance? Today I'll be teaching you trial balance and its importance and how a trial balance is made. And also today I'll be teaching you how to record all the transactions into a ledger account and also a prime entry books. We have learned from chapter number 4 to chapter number 10 the entries of accounting from basics to now. You can watch under the below description where you can click and just see whatever the details which you need to learn from chapter 1 to chapter 10. All the details are uploaded and updated on the description column. So let's move on to trial balance now. So let's see what is a trial balance. A trial balance is all about ensuring that the debit and the credit values of a transaction is completely the same. So what they do is like end of the month or end of the year, they used to calculate all the balances from the ledger account. They transfer those balances to the trial balance and finally see that the debit and the credit side is always equal. So finding out is the debit and the credit side of all the list balances is equal is known as trial balance. Just remember that you don't want to buy hard these things. The entire paragraph they are given, you can read it or you can even exclude it, but then you need to understand one particular thing: balancing of the ledger account and seeing that all the ledger accounts are balancing debit and credit is known as trial balance. Let me read it for you because these are the last two chapters which I'm going to read for you, and with the great income syllabus comes to an end. When preparing ledger account based on double entry principles, the value of a transaction is recorded in the debit side of one account and in the credit side of the other relevant account. As a result of this, after balancing of the ledger accounts, there are debit and credit balances. If the transactions are recorded and ledger accounts are balanced correctly, totals of debit and credit balances should be equal. So as I said, on one side you will take all the debit answers, and on one side you will take all the credit listing balances. And when you see debit and credit is equal, then of course your account is completely correct. So this trial balance is most probably done to see the accuracy of the accounting records. Even accountant might be mistaking, like he might do a lot of mistakes when he is recording the transaction. To know that he has done the recordings properly, this type of trial balance will be carried out. Then moving on to the point, if the transactions are recorded and ledger accounts are balanced correctly, the totals of debit and credit balances should be equal. The list which is prepared at the end of the period by including all the debit and credit balances of ledger account is called the trial balance. Trial balance is not an account; it is mere a list of balances and could be considered as a summary of the ledger. As I said, you finally record all the transaction on the ledger, so the carried down balances you will extract it to the trial balance. We have learned five classes of accounting: asset, expense, capital, liability, income, right, guys? So when we learn this five classes of accounting, I taught you asset and expense falls under debit, capital, liability, income falls under credit. So by this assumption, like whenever you are transferring the values from asset account to the trial balance, you need to remember you need to take it on the debit side of the trial balance. Why? Because asset is a debit. So the basic principle should be applied when you're transferring the balances to the trial balances. With the debit, credit, and if the debit and the credit entries have been recorded correctly in ledger accounts, and those accounts have been balanced correctly, the total of the debit column of the trial balance should agree with the total of the credit column of the trial balance. If the trial balance agrees, following two facts can be confirmed. So why do we mainly do trial balance? Due to confirming these two things: the value debited to the accounts are equal to the value credited to the account, which means accuracy of the accounting record is completely correct. And also, to ensure that these both values doesn't have any problem on the accounting what we have done. But ledger accounts have been balanced correctly. There's mathematical accuracy. Following are the balances of accounts of Kantar's business as a 30th 6 2000, who commenced his business on 1st 2000. So this is very straightforward. They are going to list these things under trial balances, but then you need to know where it fall, like cash, is it an asset? Purchase, is it an asset? So understanding this, I have taught you guys on chapter number 4 and 5. You can go under the description and find the video so you can watch the other, like the basics of accounting. So you need to know the basics to do the trial balance. That's That's not that hard. So cash is a debit because it's an asset. Purchase is a debit, it's an asset. Sales is a credit because it's an income. Debtors is a debit because it's trade receivable, or we say it as an asset. Creditors is a liability, current liability, so it falls under credit. Insurance charges is an expense, so falls under debit. Furniture is a non-current asset, falls under debit. Discount received is an income, falls under credit. Discount allowed is a expense, falls under debit. Motor vehicle is a non-current asset, falls under asset. Then we have rent payments, falls under expense, so credit. Stationery expense, again expense, falls under debit. So rent payments is also debit because it is falling under expenses. Stationery expenses debit. 12% investment, non-current asset, again it is a debit. Investment income is a credit. 15% bank loan is a liability, so it's a non-current liability most of the time, so it's a credit. Capital is credit. Now with this assumption, we can go and see all these things what I have said is completely here. So they're taking all the debit sides values on this, and then the credit side value on the credit side. So by based on income, asset, liability, based on that assumption, they are categorizing this into debit and credit. After putting this into debit and credit, they have something called ledger page. What is ledger page, guys? Ledger page is where you are recording the dates of the pages. So recording the dates of the pages is known as ledger page. So it's not compulsory to fill ledger page, and examiners never request you to fill the ledger page on your exam. So you might see the final balance of the debit and the credit should be equal. If this doesn't balance, then of course your sum is completely wrong. So moving on to the next part of the transaction, posting transaction from prime entry books to the ledger. Transactions that take place in accounting period are recorded in the prime entry books and thereafter recorded in the ledger account. As you all know the basics, like whenever you get a transaction, there'll be a person called bookkeeper. This person records the basic transaction of the accounting under the books. So when he records this basic transaction, he will transfer those recordings to where, guys? To the ledger accounts for the prime entry books, then ledger account, and finally they will prepare the trial balance. So I'm going to do today recording in prime entry books, then I will be recording it in ledger account, then we are moving on to the final trial balance today. So you might see here the following. Let us study how to record transaction in primary books, how to post transaction to the ledger, and how to prepare trial balance using the balances of accounts in the ledger. So one particular thing before I do this sum, this question will not be tested in your O levels. So for your knowledge, the reason this type of questions can be tested, but not this question, guys. So what student think is like this long, the questions will be on paper. Out of this entire questions, maybe two of them will be there, maybe three transactions might be there, but then this is tested highly on O level from certain areas. They don't test the similar question like that. Maybe they might ask you to prepare a cash book, maybe they might ask you to prepare a purchase journal, maybe they might ask you to prepare a sales journal, maybe they might ask you to prepare certain recordings and to prepare the trial balance. So either way they will ask, but then you should not confuse and think that this is a big sum so is doing, so it's going to be a big hard work you need to put for your O levels. It's not like that, guys. It's not compulsorily like that. So for your knowledge, let me move on to the content and explain you how this works. One by one we're going to do, guys. First of all, remember, when we can record the purchase journal and sales journal first, we'll record those things, then we'll come to cash receipt and bank account before we move on to the sum. This is page number 149. We're going to start now. Cash receipts and cash payments. First 2000 started the business by investing 200,000. Second first purchased goods on cash basis 85,000. Third first opened a bank current account by depositing 30,000. Why I'm reading? Because you always need to know when you're starting a sum. First read and understand. Then when you read and understand, you can't go wrong doing the calculation. Fourth first obtained a bank loan rupees 50,000 in cash. Fifth first cash sales rupees 150,000. Eighth first payment of shop rent rupees 2,000. 10th first received 11,600 from Priyani, a debtor. Discount allowed rupees 400. 12th first repayment of bank loan installment rupees 3,000. 20th first received a check worth of rupees 9,000 from Imasha, a debtor. 25th first paid rupees 7,600 to Surangi, a creditor, and the discount deducted was rupees 400. 26th first received 5% discount when paid money to settle 12,000 debts to which is a creditor. So we have a few transactions on cash. Then we move on to bank current account. Purchased goods for sale by issuing a check of rupees 15,000, received a check amounting rupees 6,200 from Priyani, and discount deducted was 300. This check was deposited in the bank current account immediately. Issued a check amounting rupees 2,000 for the shop frame, deposited a check received from Imaja on 20th first 2000 in the bank current account. Transaction relating to credit purchase of trading goods 6 plus 2000 from Surangi under invoice number 45. rupees 24,000. 8 was from Vijita under invoice number 116, rupees 20,000. As I said, first we need to record the purchase journal and sales journal. That's where we can make the sum much easy. Then they're asking you to prepare 5th first 2,000 to Priyani under invoice number 1, rupees 19,000, and 9th first to Imasha under invoice number 2, rupees 25,000. Prepare for living for the month ended 31st first 2,000. Cash book with discount columns, bank account with discount columns, purchase journal, sales journal, relevant ledger account, trial balance as at 31st first 2000x. So I'm going to do this first 5 very fast. Then I'll explain you how to extract the trial balance one by one. So before we move on to the sum, I'm not going to start with the beginning. As I said, as I always request you to do from the sales journal and purchase journal. Then it will be much easy for us to do it very particularly easily. We'll start, guys, from the purchase journal as well as sales journal. You see, credit sales should be recorded under sales journal, and credit purchase should be recorded under purchase journal. So I'm going to move on to my credit journal and purchase journal. Here I have done a small part to record it easily. Then let's start the first particular adjustment. You can see here on the transaction from Surangi under invoice number 45, 24,000. So I'm going to take 6th plus 2,000, the dates. I hope I'm going to zoom a bit so you will have a complete view on what I'm going to do. I'm not going to rush, guys. So I want you guys also to draw similar formats when you are doing the sum. So I've taken my cash book, I've taken my bank account as per the adjustment, then purchase journal and sales journal. So starting with the date 6th, yeah, 6th. 6th first. My right? No, it is January 1st. So it's wrong. So January 1st, invoice number 24. The description is the person's name. What's his name, guys? Let's see his name. The name is Surangi. Surangi. So I'll record Surangi under description. The value is 24,000. That's that easy, guys. Then I can open up a Surangi account. And I'm doing this similarly. I can do parallelly this adjustment, so I will not go wrong. So I will open up a ledger account for Surangi, because there's only 4 transactions, so we can record it very faster rather than going one by one. So let's record the 4 transactions. Yeah, I know my page is going to be big, so you also need to have like 2 to 3 pages. You need to draw this type of diagrams, not diagrams, actually the ledger accounts and the books of prime entry. Here I'll write Surangi account. So Surangi account is a purchase journal, which you already know. So I'll write here, it's a purchase journal. So most of the time, the balance is going to be on the credit side because it is a supplier. A purchase journal is done with the credit supplier, not a credit customer. So that you need to understand first of all. So credit supplier falls on the credit side. So I'll write the date 6th first. I can write purchase. I'm not yet done. I have a few more things to do on this diagram. Then we move on to the next part. Then moving on to the next part of the adjustment, it says that from Vijita under invoice number 116 20,008 first. So I will write Vijita. Vijita 8 invoice number 118 116. What is the value, guys? The value is going to be 20,000. So I'm going to record 20,000 here and a transaction. Now I can just transfer this value to the final value. So I can like finally when I'm adjusting the final sum, I will record this, but I'll just put the date and keep to get the total here 31st. First 31st is going to be debited to purchase account. So normally you need to debit your purchase account, but then I will open up a purchase account and keep, but I will not transfer now. So I need to open up 2 accounts. One is Vijita account, other one is purchase account. So easy as that, right? I need you guys to be a bit patient. My lap is slow. Okay. So I'll record here. I'll write here Vijita. Now What is the date? 8th first purchase. Yeah, I forgot to write the amount, 24,000. And here it's 20,000, right? So 8th first is going to be 20,000. So if you want to know like the view what I have done, I can show you. Not the complete one, but at least somewhat. So this is what I have done now. For now, the adjustment. So purchase journal, I record on the Surangi account, then I record on the Vijita account. I'm going to open up another account. The account's name is purchase account. So I'm going to open up and keep it, but it will be helpful for me in future. So I record here purchase account. Final balances I'll be transferring it on the month end. So I'll just put here 44,000 the total and keep it. If I want, I can write two lines is much better to represent that you have done the final total. So that is giving some sort of value when you're doing the adjustment. So here purchase account. Here I will be transferring it on the month end. So I'll just keep this third or fourth line for purchase account. Then let's move on to the sales journal, how it works. So let's record the sales journal, guys, one by one. So you can see here sales journal to Priyani under invoice number 1, 19,000. It's credit sales they are taken. So we need to take credit sales, our credit customers. So credit customers, things we should record. So we can open up a Priyani account, an Imasha account, but then we need to record first, fifth first. What is the invoice number? Invoice number 1, 19,000. So I'm going to take Priyani, yeah, fifth first, invoice number 1, record 1, Priyani. What is the value we're going to take on the Priyani? It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be 19,000. Then under the next value, the next amount they have taken, ninth first, Imasha 25,000. So ninth first, invoice number 2, Imasha 25,000. So I'll record two accounts for this. One is a Imasha account, right? To make our life easy. So I'll record here Imasha account, sorry, Priyani account first of all. Then what do we have? So we recorded the Priyani's account. Now we are going to record Himasha's account. All these accounts, guys, that's easy when you guys are doing a ledger. Once the account is taken down, then it's easy for us to record. So Priyani account, we're gonna write it's a credit customer. So trade receivables is a current asset. It will fall under the bit side. So January 1st January, on 5th January, Priyani is purchasing. So here you say sales, 19,000 of value. On the Imasha side, again, you will write the date January 9th. You will write sales, and here you write 25,000. So that is the basic recording of biometric books. Now we have recorded the basic things. Now what we need to record? We need to record the final value here, 31st Jan. I can write credited to sales account. Can open up a sales account and keep, so it will be save our time when doing the adjustments one by one. I want to draw here sales account. Right. The final total I should show here, it's also 44,000. So I'm gonna show a double line that I have done the sum completely, the total, so that will give some value to the examiner. Okay, we have done it exactly in a correct way. So most of the time they might ask purchase journal, sales journal, then they ask to record in ledger account, or they might ask you to prepare cash book and bank account, or they might ask you to prepare trial balance. This is how they can ask. They can't ask all three together, so that's going to be completely insane if they ask, and we will not have time to do everything for a 10 mark or 15 mark, because there are harder sums than this in your O level. So like if you think it is hard, then you can't do O levels. O levels there are like financial statement you'll be learning. So these are like basics when we compare to O level. Let's move on to the main part, which is the cash book, and discuss and do one by one. Okay, so cash receipts and cash payment has been given here. They're saying first 2000, started the business by investing rupees 200,000. So when you invest money, your capital account will be credited, your cash account will become debited. So I write here 200,000 on cash. Rather than cash, I think you should write it as amount. You can put it as cash, but I will prefer it to be amount than cash. I write amount in all the columns. That is giving me much understanding than writing cash. So 200,000 here I'll say capital, and remember to write the date, guys. It is very important. So this is 1st January 2000. They are starting the business on this date. So I'll write here first. Then we need to open up a capital account because this is on the debit side. Then of course you should write the capital account. How do you write this? You need to open up a capital account. So I'll write this ledger account below the sales channel, so it's easy for us to record it one by one. Okay, let me start from here. Capital account. Capital account will have a credit side transaction. First saying cash. And what's the amount they have invested? 200,000. So after recording this, the basic first adjustment is done. Let's move on to the second adjustment, guys. We have purchase goods on cash basis rupees 85,000. So when you purchase goods, the cash is going out of the business. So cash account credit 85,000. What is debit? Purchase account will become debit. So I'll write here purchases. What's the date they are taken? I think 2nd first. So January 2nd, they have made a purchase. So this purchase 85,000 should be recorded under purchase account. We just check it, the values. Okay. So purchase 85,000, I'll record it on the purchase account. You opened up a purchase account, you remember. So purchase account, I mean cash book account credit means purchase account will become debit saying cash. The narration should be recorded properly. This even I taught you on chapter number 8 how to do that. So then we will write 2nd January saying cash. That's simple. So 2 transactions is already done. So one by one, guys. Opened up a bank current account by depositing 20,000. Here they have asked bank account and cash account separately. But in chapter 8, I taught you bank and cash account under one account on a 3-column cash book, how to do that. But then here it's completely different. You can't take contra entries. You need to record it on the cash book. Then you need to record it on the bank account. So whenever you are depositing money to the bank account, your cash account will decrease and your bank account will become debit because you are putting the money into the bank. Bank is also an asset. So I write here bank first of all, and the date. What is the date they have? I think it's 3rd January. Yeah. So they're going proper dates. So 3rd January, you are depositing 20,000 in the bank and credit the cash book account, then debit the bank account. And 20,000 as a starting balance. You can write here January 3rd. You write cash. So that easy. So we have recorded the transaction. I credited the cash book and debited the bank account. You can see I have done. Then we move on to the next adjustment. What do we have? We have obtained a bank loan of rupees 50,000 in cash. So when you receive bank loan of 50,000 in cash, your bank loan account will become credit because it's a liability, and your cash account will become debit. So 50,000, I'll write here bank loan and the date. So I will open a bank loan account. So bank loan account is credit. $50,000 because the current, I mean non-current liability. Here you will write the date 4th first saying cash. So then we move on to the next transaction. I know these all comes under cash transaction because they already separated it as cash. Let's say it as cash receipts and cash payment. That's the reason I'm taking all the transaction under cash book. Then we have cash sales rupees 150,000 fifth first. So when you are making a sale, your income account will become credited and your cash book will become debited. So I'll write here sales 5th first So we can write here 150,000 the amount, and sales account will become credited. We had a sales account here somewhere here. Yes. So 150,000 will become credit, saying cash. Fifth, first, cash. That easy, guys. Adjustment number 5 is also done. So move on to the next adjustment. What do you have? We have cash payment of shop rent rupees, rent 2,000. So when you pay rent, your money is going out of the business. So I'll write here rent. What is the date we all are paying rent, guys? We are paying rent on 8th first, right? So I'll write here first, 8th first. You are paying a rent of 2,000. So rent is an expense account. So you open up an expense account. Expense account is on debit side. Credit cash book, debit rent account. So I'll record it here as we have a few spaces here. Rent account. So I'll write here 2,000. It's cash which we need to record, right, guys? I'm gonna write here cash. What is the date of cash? Is there made rent payment on 8th first? So I'll record here 8th first, saying cash. So recording is done almost on that also. Then we move on to the next part of the sum. It says 10th first received rupees 11,600 from Priyani debtor, discount allowed 400. So we are receiving a discount, and this discount which we are here on the debit side is always representing discount allowed. I can write here discount allowed. It's not a must, but then it's also easy for example for you to record it. On the credit side, you can record discount received. That's also fine for you. Like when you record, it's easy for you to actually mark it down. And then here the same way I will record discount allowed and discount received on the back column also. So it's easy for us to track down, guys. That's the reason I'm copying here. So don't write like if you know the discount received on the credit side and discount allowed is on the debit side, it is going to save our time in exams a lot. So moving on to Priyani's adjustment, received 11,600 from Priyani data. Discount allowed is rupees 400. So I'm going to take 11,600 we are receiving from Priyani. So I'll write here 11,600. Discount allowed is 400. What is the date Priyani is making the payment for us? Priyani is giving the money on 10th first. So I'll write here 10th first. And then I'm moving on to my Priyani's account. So here I'll write 10th first. They are receiving, the Priyani is making the payment from our account. That's the reason we are receiving that money. So I'll write 10th first. We are receiving cash. She has paid 11,600, and also she got a discount of 400 because we gave a discount of 400 on 10th first, and that is discount allowed. So this recording is that easy, guys. Once you have recorded this, then it's going to save our time. Then and there, try to record the adjustments then and there, so it's very easy for us to finalize here. I'll write here Priyani. You can write in brackets later, but if not, you don't want to, you can just write Priyani. Then we move on to the next adjustment of the sum. It says that repayment of bank loan installment 3,000. So you are paying a bank loan amount. So I'll write here bank loan, paying 3,000 on the credit side of the cash book, and then I'll write the date of the adjustment. What is the date it is happening? On 12th first. So record here 12th first. So on the bank loan account, I'll be crediting, debiting this amount 3,000 which we have made the payment. So I'll write the date. What is the date we are making payment for bank loan? On 12th Jan. So I'll write here 12th first cash. So bank loan will decrease. Then we move on to the next adjustment of the sum. What do we have? So we are going to the next part, which is received a check worth of rupees 9,000 from Imasha Adeta. So what's the value 9,000? So 9,000 we are getting a 9,000 from Imasha Adeta, but then there's no discount which is given, so we can take directly the 9,000 from the Imasha's account. So I can write here Imasha 9,000. She didn't give any discount for us. On one side is very bad because she didn't give discount, but no worries, guys. So then what's the date we are going to record Imasha? Imasha is recording it on 11th, 20th first. So 20th first, 9,000. Then what do you have? Imasha's account. I'll open up Imasha's account. Yeah, I'll record it as Imasha. Sorry, we had an account called Imasha, right? So I'll record Imasha account, Priyani Imasha. So see, they are making a payment. So Imasha, we can write 9,000 on the credit side. And the date, what's the date? They give 20th January. So then 20th January, Imasha made a payment. We can write here cash. She paid from cash. So that's easy, guys. Then we move on to the next adjustment. What do you have? We have paid rupees 7,600 to Surangi, a creditor, and a discount was rupees 400. So we got a discount. They deducted a discount, but then the amount they are giving is 7,600. We are making payment. We got a discount of 400. So I'll write here on 26th January we are paying Surangi 7,600 on the credit side of the cash book, and then we are receiving a discount of 400. So I'll record it under Surangi's account on the debit side. We're making a payment of 7,600 and we are receiving a discount of 400. Here on the credit side, I mean on the debit side, I'll record it as cash because that's the date we are making the cash. And also we are receiving a discount, so I'll record here. Then write, I will write the entire term because I don't want you guys to lose marks on your paper because you don't write the entire term. You will some students follow that because I'm writing not the entire term. You also will do the same thing. So don't be lazy to do the write the entire thing. Write the entire thing, guys. So I credited the cash book and debited the Surangi's account. Then we move on to the next adjustment. We have received 5% discount when paid money to settle 12,000 debts of visitor creditor. So 12,000, I can show you the 5% of 12,000. 12,000 into 5% will give me a discount of how much, guys? So 10% means 1,200. It's going to be give a discount of 600. So in 12,000, if I get a discount of 600, what is the amount I should pay? 11,400. So I'm going to pay 11,400 to Vijita. So I'm moving on to the adjustment. Vijita, how much I'm going to pay? 11,400. I'm getting a discount of 600. I'm paying 11,400. Then I'll write the date. What is the date this adjustment is happening? It's on 26th. So I think I had recorded the dates wrong. It should be 25. Plus 25 Surangi's recording. And then 26th is Vijita's recording. So I'll move on to Vijita's account and record this. So we'll record it under Vijita's account. Where's Vijita? Vijita is here. We are making a payment of 11,400 and the date is 26th, first in cash. Here it should be the date is wrong, so I'll convert. I'll change these dates. It should be 25th, so I'll take here 25th, right? So here also I'll write 25th. Is that easy, guys? So 26th, and here I'll write 600 and 26th 1. What will be the amount of money which we are going to get discount received? It's going to be 600. That easy, guys. So we recorded almost there. So we are done with the cash adjustments. Everything is done on cash adjustment. I hope so. Then we'll start the bank current account transactions one by one. Let's move on to the next part of the sum. Transaction relevant to bank current account. 8/1/2000 purchase goods for sale by issuing a check of rupees 15,000. So they are purchasing worth of 15,000 worth of goods under purchases. So credit bank account. Here I'll write 15th plus 15. I'll record here. Give me a second. Purchase goods on sale of rupees 15,000. I just want to say the date. What is the date? 8th first. So we'll record the date as per that. 8th January purchases. How much is the amount they have made a purchase in bank account? 15,000. So then you need to record this on the purchase account as well. So I'll move on to my purchase account. That's my purchase account. There's a lot of accounts, so it's very hard to find. So here 15,000 I'll record and record the date 8th first. So the value I'll write here is not cash. I'll write here it as bank. So after recording this transaction, let's move on to the next part of the sum. It says that 11th first received a check amounting rupees 6,200 from Priyani and discount deducted was 300. This check was deposited in the bank current account immediately. So you are receiving a check, but you're not taking it to the cash account, but receiving it to the bank directly. So I'll record it as 6,200 on the bank account, and then 300 under discount allowed because we are receiving the money from Priyani. And when is this date of transaction is taking place? Let me see. The date of transaction is on 11th first. So 11th first, this transaction takes place. So I'll move on to Priyani's account, credit Priyani's account by two values. One is 6,200, other one is the discount allowed 300. So I'll write here bank actually and the date of the transaction. So it's 11th first it happened. So I'll write here bank, they paid 6,200 and they received a discount of 300. So that easy guys, we have recorded that also. Then we move on to the next part of the adjustment. What do we have? We have issued a check amounting 2,000 for shop rent. So you are paying a shop rent amount. Earlier also you paid rent under cash account, but then you can now put it on the bank account. And what's the date you are paying the rent? Let me write the amount rent 2,000. The date they have paid the rent. It is on 18th first. So I record 18th first as the date of transaction. So I'll move on to my rent account and I'll write it as 18th first as bank, and I'll record here 2,000, right? So that easy guys, recording this adjustment. Then we move on to the next part of the sum. It says that deposited the check from Imasha deposited the check from Imasha on 20th first 2000 in the bank current account. So you all remember that we received a check on 20th on the cash account. I took this, but then we directly took it as cash. But now the money which we got it from cash, we are making it into the bank. We are putting the money into the bank. So how do you record this? We will credit the cash account that 9,000 which we received from Imasha, but then I will not say Imasha, but I'll say here bank, and this transaction is happening on the 27th of the month. So I record here bank 9,000 and I'll credit there on cash book and debit on the bank account. I'll write here 9,000, not Imasha again. Here I'll say cash account. There's no contra entry because cash account and bank account is completely in different books. Earlier when we are doing 3-column cash book, we did both in one account, but then now we need to do it in a separate way. So 27th January. So recording is that easy guys. So now we have recorded the complete figure. I hope I have recorded everything on the correct way, but I have one more thing to record. What's that guys? Yeah, I have recorded everything properly on the books. Even credit purchases, sales are done, but then I need to transfer the credit purchases and sales amount to the correct entry. Like I have said in purchase journal, debited to purchase account, but I didn't debit that. I'm going to debit. It's on month end 31st January. I'll write here, you can write here final value. I can write it as now it's purchase account. I can completely say it as creditors. So what is the value of creditors we're going to take into this sum? It's going to be 44,000. And then for sales account, we're going to take the same amount, but then here I will say it as, didn't they give any sales? Bank account, no sales. So here I'll write 31st first debtors 44,000. So that easy guys. Now we need to finalize the sum. How do you finalize the sum? We need to find the final balance of this sum. Let's finalize the sum guys. Now I'm gonna take you guys to the books of accounting, which we have done almost everything. Now we need to find, we have done the cash book, we have done the bank account, and also we have finalized purchase journal, sales journal, and even relevant ledger account. Now we need to find the carried down balances and then transfer those balances to the trial balances. So now for that, we need to finalize all the adjustments. It's easy to finalize, you all know how to do that. But then I'll just show you how to do that again. I have taught you this in cash book also. Take two lines into sides on the cash book to finalize the sum. Yes. So I'm going to take the total on cash book. You can see here on discount allowed column, they have given it as 400. So I'll take directly 400. And then on the discount received column, they have given a value of 1,000, right? So I'm going to take 1,000. Okay. 1,000. and then I'm going to take which side is higher on cash book. Always debit side will be higher in cash book. Why? Because if you have money only, you will spend. So here you can see the total value of this money is 420,000. You can see my cursor. But in normal time, like you need to add 200, 250, 150 is 400. Then you need to add this 11,600 and 9,000. We get 420,600. So once we add this amount, we should bring the same 420,600 to the credit side of the cash book. After recording here, you will be able to find the carried down balance on the month end, and you will always need to write the balances on the month end, which is 31st Jan. Here I'm going to take the entire amount of total, and you can see here the total which I'm getting is 138,000. So to find the differences between 420,600 and 138,000, I'm going to deduct 426,000, 20,600 minus 138,000. So I get the balance of 282,600. So this is the balance which should come to the trial balance. So I will bold this up because that's the balance of cash book. So let's move on like that for each and every account. On the bank account, I'm going to do the same thing. So I will take the balances of each account. How do we do that, guys? We will take the total column in each side, and we see a discount allowed column is there. So it's 300 right here. And what is the balance? You can see that debit side is higher than the credit side. So I'll record here 35,200, the total, this three total. And then I will take the same way, the column which I have taken for discount allowed and amount. I will take discount received and amount. There's no balances for discount received, so I'll just put it as dash. And here I get 17,000. So I can write the differences. 35,200 minus 17,000 will give me a value of how much? 18,200. So that easy, guys. So we record this amount. Then what is the date this happens? 31st January. So first 31st this happens. Now I'll record here it as carried down. So this is the value which should go to the books of bank account. On a trial balance, you need to take this balance. So 35,200. Now I'm going to do the same thing for all the accounting, guys. One by one, we can find rent account carried down 4,000. So I'll record here 4,000 in both sides, right? I hope my adjustments are correct. Hope it has. Then we move on to one by one. Let me start with the other side of the accounting. What do we have? We can go on to the next big sums adjustment, Surangi. So we see the credit side is higher. So I can write 24,000, right? I can record it as so you can see 24,000 is on the highest amount. So I'll bring the both values in both sides. So then I can deduct 8,000 from 24,000. So I'll get a carried down balance. So 31st January, carried down is going to be how much? 16,000. The same way I'm going to do the other adjustment also, which is the account. So 20,000. Same way, guys. This is a similar way of doing, so it will not take much time. Then I'll record 20,000 both sides, right? Then I get 11,400 plus 600 is 12,000. So we have balance of 8,000 on carried down side. So 31st first we have carried down balance of 8,000. Then we move on to the purchase account. That's straightforward. You can see the debit side is higher. So I'll take the debit side value. 85 plus 15 is 100 plus 144,000. Recording this, then 144,000. Carry it down 31st. First carry it down 144,000. You don't want to have like leave space like this if you want, but it's like my style. You also can have your own style of recording. Even you can record here or here, it doesn't matter. Then we finalize this sum. We have a balance. I think, yeah. I think they have settled off the entire thing. Let me check, is there any balances they need to make a payment. So we'll keep a gap. And let's see, they made a sale. We made for Priyank, she has paid 18,500. You can see here. So then the carry down balance is going to be 500 because 9,000 in debit and the credit side is very higher. So I'll write the carry down balance 31st first. Carried down it's going to be 500. It's that easy, guys. Then we have Imasha's account. So we'll finalize this account also. It takes a lot of time, but then that's how you need to do it, guys. You can't, there's no shortcut to do that. You should always go with the long way. Then only you will be practicing it in better on your exams. So then we have in 25,000, if 9,000 has been paid means what is the balance we should show? It's going to be carried down 31st first. Carried down it's going to be 16,000. So altogether 25,000 on the debit side and 25,000 on the credit side. Then we have sales account. What do you have on the sales account? So sales account straightforward. We can finalize this also. 31st first carry it down. So we got 194,000. Right, I hope so. My values are wrong. I'm very sorry, but then I'm doing with the assumption that everything is correct. So we move on. I think I have finalized everything except this capital account and bank loan. We finalize capital account also. Carried down 31st first. Carried down is going to be how much, guys? 200,000. There's no other investment additionally they have made in the business. So I'm going to take the same amount. Okay, so here it's going to be 200,000 both side. Not 20,000, 200,000. And on the credit side also it's going to be 200,000. Then since bank loan they have paid 3,000, so we can deduct this 3,000 on the debit side, and you will get a value of 47,000 on the credit side. So 31st first, right here 47,000. 50,000 is the highest value in both sides. I will take this value. So I think I have finalized everything, almost everything. Now I'm going to prepare the trial balance. Shall I prepare the trial balance, guys? Yes. So I'm going to draw a trial balance here. Yes. Yes, I'll put a trial balance for my concern. Then I'm gonna take description column a bit bigger, so it's easy for me. Description. Then you have a ledger page. It's not that important, so L.P. Even drawing a ledger page is not a must, so we can even exclude this and move on to debit and credit. So I'll move on to debit and credit, guys. It's not a must in exams to draw that. So whatever important, we'll do it, guys. So now we have taken description, debit and credit. You can see it here. So I'm going to put all the carried down balances to this. What you need to understand, like some students, what they do, I mean, even examination, what they do is like they bring this carried down balance for the next month as February 1st, and then they consider as brought forward. They consider it as brought forward on the exam paper or brought down on the exam paper, and they record it as 282,600. So this is the value they take it to the debit side. This is another way like you can do that. So they have written here cash 282,600. There's another way to take it to the debit side. If you know the class of accounting properly, then of course you can easily take. You know, Surang is a creditor, so you can directly take credit as a liability. You can take like if it is carried down here on the credit debit side, so the broad sport should be on the credit side, right? So with that assumption, or if you know Surang is a creditor, she's paused on the liability, then you can directly move on to the what do you say to the description. You can write creditors Surangi. And then what is the amount you are going to write about Surangi? You can have the amount. It's going to be 16,000, right? And then we have Vichita 8,000. So 16,000 and 8,000. So record here 16,000 on the credit side, and Vichita 8,000. Right here a dash, some lines to show it's also part of creditor. And I forgot to write a bank account. So whenever I take the values, I just used to dark it, bold it. So you can also like put a tick or something when you do it in the exam, so you'll not go wrong. And then we have purchase 144,000. So I'll record purchase also on the debit side because it's an asset. As if it is in credit side, take it to the debit side. That's the easy way. Or you can bring the brought forward here as I did for cash account and do it one by one. So purchase account is 144,000. So I'll record it as purchases 144,000. So that recording is also done. Then we move on to the next part. I'll finalize the bank account also. You can see on the credit side, 18,200 bank is an asset. So it should come on the brought forward on the debit side, which means bank will have a debit balance of 18,200. Then with the assumption, we move on to the next part of the sum. We have, what do you have, guys? We have Priyani. Priyani has a balance of 500 and Himasa has a balance of 16,000. So both are debtors. So I can write here debtors. Priyani. What is the value? Priyani is paying us 500. We have the value of 500 and also we have a value, not Vijita, Himasha, 16,000. So done recording the basics. Then we move on to the next part, guys. What do we have? Ledger accounting almost done. Himasha done. So sales account. There's one more thing which I need to finalize. Let me do it and I'll do it. Sales account 44,000, 194,000. So I'll finalize sales account also. 194,000. Then we have capital account 200,000, bank loan 47,000. So capital 200,000, capital is credit, so I'll take it on the credit side. And then bank loan is a liability, so I'll take it on the credit side. And also I have, what else I have? I have one more thing, rent. Still I'm not yet done. I have a few more adjustments to do. Rent is an expense, so I'll take it on the debit side. So if it is on the credit side here, the carried down, it should be on debit side, the brought forward. So I have a few more adjustments to do. What did I miss? I missed something called discount allowed and discount received, which I didn't take into accounting. I actually forgot it. So you guys also, when you're doing it, you might forget it. So this is not a pre-planned session. No, I didn't read the question. I just came into the direct action. That's how I do sums. Anyway, so you guys can also record these two adjustments. First, I'll record here discount allowed. And then I will transfer it as discount received. So we have two type of accounts. One is discount received and discount allowed. I can take discount allowed on the month end 31st. First, we got from debtors. You all remember? We'll move on to this debtors column. Rather than taking from here, either I can take 400 plus 300 here. But then it's better you always see from debtors side. Then of course you will have an idea. So 400, you can see debtors. One is here 400 credit and here 300 credit, which means discount allowed should be debited by 400 and 300, saying on the month end, because that's the amount which we are going to do on the month end. Either you can take it from the cash book directly, or either you can have the adjustment from that idea. So 31st first, you have 300. So the carried down is going to be 31st first carried down 700 in total. So this amount of 700, I can show it on the trial balance as discount allowed. Discount allowed is a expense. So I'll write here the expense 700. Let's move on to discount received then. Discount received is let's see how much they are given for discount received. You can see only 1,000, so that's the maximum amount they would have received from Surangi and Vijita. Again, you can confirm from Surangi and Vijita, did they get 1,400 here? I bold it and 600 here, so which means 1,000. So again, I can take it on the month end, 31st first discount received. I can write creditors 400 and creditors 600. These are the ways we can record 600. Now here I can write the balance carried down, which is on 31st first. Carried down is going to be 1,000. So then the total is going to be 1,000 and 1,000. As discount received is an income, here if it is carried down means here it should be brought forward on the credit side. So I'll take discount received as a income. Discount received How much, guys? It's going to be 1,000. So I'm going to get the total on both sides. Is it correct or not? I don't know, but then assuming it's correct, yeah. So I'll take the total balances of both sides. Let me put two boxes. Yes, to get the total. Yeah. Also, I will. Okay. So you might see on the debit side, I'm going to take the total. I'm going to add this up. So in Excel, I can add it easily. I don't want to add like you guys 282,600 plus 18,200 plus 144,000 plus 500 plus 16,000 plus 4,000 plus 700. I'm getting a value of 466,000. You should add one by one when you're doing it on the sum. So 466,000. And then I'm going to add this part, guys. 16,000, 8,000, 194,000, 200,000, 47,000, and 1,000 is also giving the same value. So now if my balance is getting balanced, then of course my adjustment is completely correct. Then I have done the sum correctly. Now I hope you guys understand this sum. I hope so. I hope you understood it much better. And thanks for watching the entire thing to do the prime entry books recording properly. We started with cash book and then we recorded bank account, purchase journal, sales journal, ledger account transaction. Then we transferred these values into a trial balance. And this type of hard questions cannot be tested on your papers. But then they might ask you to do the ledger accounting and prepare trial balance, or they might ask you to prepare sales journal and record it under the ledger account, or they might ask you to do the cash book and record it under ledger account and prepare trial balance. Can be type of questions be tested on your papers, but not everything in one question. Anyway, guys, if you watch this entire video and if you like this video, please subscribe my channel. And to learn with me more, every time I upload a video, if you really wanted to learn, then of course you need to subscribe the channel and to get the notification from me, hit the bell button. So every time I post a video, you will be always be updated. Commerce with Mac will come with another video very soon on grade chapter 11. There's one more part I want to discuss this area, which is the activities. These activities, many students request me to do activities. I skip activities, but then like from chapter 6, like 1 or 2, I would have skipped, but then I didn't skip any other activities even in chapter 9 because I want students are requesting me to do it. So this 1 and 2 will be completely done on my part 2 video of chapter 11. See you guys on another video. Have a nice day then. Bye.